1, and we are going for launch. The Space Shuttle Mythical Ireland is launching. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the library. This is Live Irish Myths. I'm Anthony Murphy. Tonight, we are hosting episode number 201. Actually, just between us, 202 if you count the quiz night, which was in celebration of the 200th episode. And then we did a 200th episode. Anyway, I hope you're all keeping safe and well, no matter where you are in the world. You are very welcome to the library this evening. Fáilte mo chairde go léir ar fud na crinne go dtí mo leabharlann seo is Misha Anton. Lots of comments as the intro wound down its timer. Ali, I don't know how to pronounce that. Is it Gisil? Ali says, first to comment tonight, by the way. The honor goes to Ali in Tucson, Arizona. Happy to tune in. Mondays are becoming my favorite days just for this. What can I say? What a ringing endorsement. Ali, you're very welcome. Good afternoon to you. Michelle Woodburn is saying greetings from Jarrow, current and traditional home of the Wiyot people, now known as Eureka, California, USA. A very good midday to you, Michelle. Hope the temperature is nice in California. We've been having something of a November heat wave, but it seems to be over because it's a lot chillier today. 17 Celsius one of the days, which is about 62, 63 Fahrenheit a few days ago. Brendan Byrne is in the house. He says, yes, we are, which was in reply to my comment saying, hope you're all looking forward to this episode. Brendan in Glendalough. Good evening to you. Guido Bruce is in the house. Trenonoa, look, I have them all saying the same thing. It's brilliant. You're very welcome. Let me just silence this phone for a moment. That is very... how very inconsiderate. I apologize. Michelle Woodburn says, names, they matter. Place names in particular. Damien Mullen is in the house. Hello, Damien. Good evening to you, wherever you are in the world. Daisy Peters is in Rio de Janeiro in Brazil. A very good afternoon to you, Daisy. You're very welcome to Live Irish Myths episode 201. Who is this Mythical Ireland who's welcoming everybody? Oh, wait, that's me. Helena Breen says, evening, Ajiagwich, Anthony, and all the two. Hello, Helena. You're very welcome. Wayne Bird says, evening, Anthony, and the good folk of Mythical Ireland. Wayne, you're very welcome. Tara Stock, Macarja, Ceasius, August, Olin to imbibe to drink and have a drink. And hey, look what I've got. Woo-hoo! Now, you know, I'm a fan of the Tullamore Dew. This stuff's even better again. Redbreast. Single pot still. Fabulous stuff. Expensive, mind, but fabulous. Snapper Earl says, hey, I'm early. Well, you're very welcome. Whether early, late, or on time, please come in, sit down, make yourself feel at home. Patricia Pack is also celebrating the fact that she made it at the beginning. Excellent. Good stuff, Patricia. You're very welcome. And yes, hello, indeed, hello, Jigwich. Michelle Woodburn is in party mood, apparently. John Main is saying, Banachty from a sunny and relieved San Francisco. Why relieved? Was there an earthquake there the other day? John, please fill us in. Why are you relieved? Michelle Woodburn says, and warm. Yes, indeed. Alan Hoskins is saying, hi, everyone, from an extremely wild, wet, and windy Ballina, Killaloe. Do us a favour, Alan. Keep it down there and stop it from coming to the Boyne Valley if that's not too much to ask. Alva Kelly says the Tua is in the house. You got this. Thank you, Alva. You're very, very welcome. Mark Gordon is in Iowa. Good afternoon, Mark. You're very welcome to the live stream. Unnamed Facebook user says Arizona, USA. I wonder who that is. Oh, are we back on? No, I didn't. I'm not able to stream directly to the Mythical Ireland community. I used to get that when we were... Oh, Joe Butler has shared it, of course. Thank you, Auntie Joe. Sue Prenter says, evening, Anthony. Enjoyed Fornox. Thank you. And it was a great pleasure, Sue, to meet you and some of the other Tua face-to-face. Thank you for the cup of tea, by the way. let's keep that between us. Let's not discuss that in front of the others. They might get jealous. What's this? Anthony getting tea from one of the two. That's what we all dream of, isn't it? Actually meeting up. Anyway, it was a great pleasure. It was a lovely day and 3 packed tours and 3 apparently very happy groups of people. So keep an eye out for the next tour. I will be announcing that in the next couple of days, and that will take place in the next few weeks. Venue to be decided. Michael Pike is in the house. Michael, good afternoon to you. Banachty Anthony August Tua. Well, Banachty Tu Fain August Conas Atatu. Michelle Woodburn saying cold. Actually, sorry, I don't have a weather station. I used to have a mini weather station, an electronic one, but it broke. Just checking out what the temperature is right now at Dublin Airport, which is only 20 miles down the road. Wind 21 knots, gusts up to 36 knots, temperature 11 Celsius. Okay, a little bit cooler than it has been. It's been 14. I think this time last night it was 14, and we had 16.5 degrees in Shannon Airport a few nights ago, setting a new record, the highest temperature ever recorded at nighttime in November in Shannon Airport. Annette Peard. Yes. Hello, Annette. You're very welcome. And Annette is one of the most blessed people in the world in that she lives very close to the Hill of Tara. Very, very, very special landscape. Michelle Woodburn says about the same here. Anne McCallum is in the house. Hello, Anton and all the mighty two. I hope everyone's in fine fettle. Snowed all day Saturday. See, this is what I'm talking about. People are cold, and here we're having a bit of a heat wave. When I say heat wave, we're not exactly wearing the Bermuda shorts out and about. Just put it that way. Temperature has risen to a cool 3 Celsius today, but the sun is shining, so it's lovely. That sounds nice. Very photogenic, maybe. Simon Tusafar Photo says hello from County Cork. Hello, Simon, and thank you for your kind comments on some of my recent posts, and thank you for the video of the old head of Kinsale, the drone video. I was down there, as I said, a couple of weeks. Had a very, very interesting time getting there. But anyway, that's another story which we told last week. You're very welcome. And thank you for all your lovely photography. Maybe anybody who's watching will look up Simon Tusafar photos on Facebook and give him a follow. His photography is very good. Patricia Pack says, little Chile in East Alabama. It's that time of the year, isn't it? For us Northern Hemispherers. Marcia Downs is in the house. Hello, Marcia. Hello, all, and hope all are very well. Well, I can only speak for myself. I'm in fine fettle, Marcia. It's good to hear from you. Desiree Riley's in the house, saying hello to all the Tua. Me and Amadeus missed the last few episodes, but we are so happy to be here with everyone today from chilly Colorado. You see, it's even chilly in Colorado, although there are mountains in parts of Colorado, aren't there? And of course, you're not influenced by those oceanic currents and airways that, for instance, the inhabitants of Seattle. I had 2 Seattleans. Is that what you call people from Seattle? On one of the tours at Fornox on Saturday, we had a couple from Seattle. And it's funny because during the tour, I happened to mention Boeing and the Boeing plant in Seattle. You're going to say, how the hell can you mention the Boeing plant in Seattle in the context of a talk about megalithic Ireland? Well, you have to have been there. Damien Mullen is in Ballygowan in the county of Down. Damien, you're very welcome this evening. I hope it's not too wet, chilly, or, generally dank up there. And I hope you're settled nicely in front of the screen. Caroline Engrand is in Melbourne in Florida, just down the road from where our team is awaiting flight at Kennedy Space Center. Is that the one that's been delayed and delayed and delayed? That's interesting. The first time I have an interest in aviation, previously stated. The first time I saw a flight, I'm not sure what airline it was. It might have been... No, I can't remember what airline it was. But there was a flight from Manchester passing over. I said, where is it going? I said, Melbourne. I said, that's not the way to Melbourne. And I realized it's Melbourne, Florida. And there, right on cue, Desiree, there is Coda barking in the background. So, Amadeus, say hello. Yes, they hear you. It's okay. Yep. Attention deficit in dogs is a thing too, Yes. He wants to take over. Why don't I just give him the microphone? Thank you, Joe, for sharing to the community and I think the creatives, Mythical Ireland creatives. Just to say, if you're on the main Mythical Ireland page, there is also a Facebook group called the Mythical Ireland community, and there's one called Mythical Ireland Creatives. So please feel free to join those too. Tom King is in the house. Hello, Anthony and the mighty Tua. Hope all in good fettle. Working on mighty fire at the forge. A nip in the air at the Boyne Valley. It's story time. Well, congratulations, Tom, on being nominated for the Business and Tourism Awards. Folks, if you haven't seen that, that's, I think, on the Mythical Ireland community today, shared by Anya Ryan. Our Tom has been nominated for an award for tourism. Brilliant stuff. And the very best of luck to you in that regard, Tom. I may have to take a brief interval to find out what the dog is barking at. Anya Ryan says, Ansho. Hello, Anthony. Hi, all. Jigrich Anya, Conasata too. You're very welcome. Joan McHugh is in the house, watching you on the TV in front of a roaring fire, accompanied by lovely Shiraz. By the way, R.I.P. Vicky Phelan. Yeah, absolutely. Our hearts go out to all of Vicky's family and friends. A tireless campaigner for the terrible injustice that was done in relation to the cervical cancer smears. Absolutely, and thank you for mentioning her. Glad to hear that you're very comfortable, Joan. Sounds exactly like the way I would like to be when I'm watching the old TV, you know. Who am I missing? Gary Keogh, who is the full Irish GK. Another fine day on the sod? Well, I suppose, yes. I mean, Anne McCallum has snow, so we can't complain, can we? Not really. Adrian Beglin is in the house. Evening, Adrian. You're very, very welcome to the live stream. Sandra Boothroyd is here. Hello, Sandra, as is Garoj O'Branagon. Hello, Garoj Conasata too. You're very, very welcome. Yes, Joe Butler envies Tom's Forge. I think that's something we could all picture, huddled around a nice fire at the forge. Okay, bear with me one moment, folks. I'm going to have to find out why the dog is incessantly barking, because he may be barking for a reason. Do I have an interval video? No, I don't. I was going to play a video that says back in a moment, but apparently there isn't one. So I'll be back in a moment. Just give me 1 second. Mind you, it's probably a good thing that we have a dog who barks a lot, because 2 nights ago, at around 10 to 2 in the morning, we had somebody in our back garden, a young gentleman in a grey hoodie with a torch. Thankfully, he did not try to enter the property and seems to have cleared off very quickly, because we were disturbed and we got out of bed fairly quickly to go and check. But anyway, the funny thing is, Coda slept through the whole thing. He barks when you don't want him to bark, and he doesn't bark when you do want him to bark. I know, that's life. Oh, sorry, the comments I've skipped past. Oh my God, there's so many comments. I apologize. I'm going to have to try and whiz through these. Okay, we said hello to Garage. Stephen O'Hara is in the house in Kilkenny. Got the last of my daffies in today. Yeah, some people are saying that some strange things going on with the weather, and some flowers blooming early and thinking it's spring already. Karen Murphy Beglin is saying evening all. And different screens, different rooms, same room. Fascinating, and very good of you to join us. You're always very welcome, of course. Alva Kelly is in the house. I'm not sure I said hello to you, but saying hello to Daisy. It's terribly hot, says Daisy, here, and you're all enjoying the cold in the Northern Hemisphere. If we could balance it out a little bit, if you could trade, give us a few degrees and we would take them, so it would be cooler for you and warmer for us, that would be a happy out, But anyway, there you go. The Boeing site in Seattle is huge, says Guido. Yeah, I've never been. One of the ambitions is to get there. Michael Trott is in the Southern Hemisphere. Hope all the two are grand. I've missed a few. Don't worry about that. Greetings to the Neolithic and myth appreciated Mike back in New Zealand. Good morning, Michael. You're very, very welcome. Thank you for joining us at what must be a very early period on Tuesday morning. Happy Tuesday to you from Monday from the Boyne Valley. Patricia Pack says, woof to you. Jacqueline Kelly Adams, hello there, is in Washington State. Hello, my good friend Jacqueline. I hope you are keeping well. It's a few months since I saw you, at least a few months. Maybe 5 or 6 months now at this point. Time is flying. Mandy McCurl is in the house in the Isle of Mull. Wood-fired pizza in the village tonight. Very fancy. I mean, Joan is drinking Shiraz. Mandy is eating wood-fired pizza. Sounds like the kind of gathering I would like to be at, or again, around Tom's fire, you know. Laurie Fogarty is in Colorado. I'm off today, so I can actually watch live. Brilliant stuff, Laurie. Is it Laurie, isn't it? And I do remember meeting you. So thank you for joining us, and you're extremely welcome. Wonderful to see you again. Indira Stefaniana is saying it is bright and crisp in Hollywood. Presume that's Hollywood in California and not Hollywood in County Wicklow. Mystery tapped love icon and angry face floated. No, haha, weird. We don't, it's not that we don't tolerate angry faces, we just don't tend to get them here, you know. It's between 18 and 22 Celsius in Tucson. Sunny, lovely today. Wow. Yeah, I would trade that right now. Well, I think it would be a bit weird if the sun came out at night in Ireland, but you know what I mean. Elaine Dent-Lingenfelter is in the house. I'm here. It's like Ireland today, soft and cold. That's very Irish. Regina Riley's in the house. Hello, Regina. Robert Brown is in the house. Hello, Robbie. How are you keeping? Hope you are well. Oh, my goodness me. It's going to be a while before we get started at this rate. This is fantastic. Fergal de Cantún is in Kilkenny, as is Stephen O'Hara. A couple of Kilkennians joining us this evening. Fergal, you're very welcome to the live stream. Enjoying a beer with the pizza, says Mandy, just to make us even more on it. Right, that's it. I'm opening my red breast. I'm opening my red breast 12 right now. And I'll drink it from the bottle if I have to. I joke. I jest. Enjoy the beer and the wood-fired pizza. Not jealous at all. Rowan Grove has joined us from Colorado. Hello, Rowan. You're very welcome to the live stream, as you always are. Okay, I think we've finally caught up with all the comments. Wow. Only 3 hours later, SpongeBob. Ah, yes, tonight. Do I have any announcements? Well, you've seen the ticker. This thing that goes woo along the bottom of the screen. I hope you can all see that. In the past 24 hours, Mythical Ireland on Instagram. Yes, we're even on Instagram. Mythical Ireland passed 10,000 followers yesterday. And there's a little bit of a celebration going with that, which is that if you use that code, and you don't have to be an Instagram follower, you can be anybody you like, MI10K Insta, which stands for Mythical Ireland 10,000 Instagram. MI10K Insta. Use that code at the checkout on the Mythical Ireland website to get a 10% discount on any order. And that means if you want to buy a calendar, a book, a thing, a yoke, you know, put them all in the one and then get your 10%. Or if you just want a calendar or a book, it applies it at the end. Joan says, my hubby is cycling in Tasmania and is washed out of it. Diddums. I do feel sorry for him. I do in my XXXX fill in the blanks. Yeah, Tasmania. Wow. Fergal says, MI10K Insta is cool. I just needed to come up with a code, so I thought it made sense. Michael Pike says, I have to get some redbreast. New task undertaken. New cask. Never mind. Sorry, that was a poor joke. But speaking of poor jokes, I went on a date last night with a girl from the zoo. She was great. She's a keeper. Already ordered my calendar, says Rowan. Do as Rowan did, folks. Get over to mythicalireland.com and order your 2023 calendar. I'll show you. I'll give you a look just so that you can say you've seen it. I know some of you have seen it before. This one's a bit creased because it's been sitting on the chair. 2023 calendar featuring images of ancient Ireland, including Newgrange in the Snow, and Baltray Standing Stone in winter solstice sunrise, and Newgrange in the Mist, and all sorts of wonderful. Well, that's very, very self-indulgent for me to say wonderful. It's up to you to decide whether they're wonderful or not. Anyway, there you go. Now it's curbstones at night. Task or cask, either is good, says Michael. Exactly. Once you taste it, there's no going back. Once you've had redbreast, you know. Michelle Woodburn has the old hand to the face. I get that all the time. Funny enough, it's usually at the dinner table when I try the humour on the family. And they're like, oh, Dad, shut up. Stop embarrassing us. And usually then I tell a few more jokes just to wind them up. Tonight, we are talking about place names again. I am reading from a magnificent tome. And it was a real pleasure when I picked this up. When did I pick it up? September 2021, actually. It's been in the library for over a year, and it is a ridiculously hefty tome. It's called The Heritage of Ireland, Natural, Man-Made and Cultural Heritage, Conservation and Interpretation, Business and Administration, edited by Neil Buttimer, Colin Rinn and Helen Gearan. Now, it was published by the Collins Press, but with support from the Heritage Council. It is, I mean, you can see the dimensions. I think that's an A4. That's pretty much A4, isn't it? And it runs to over 700 pages. It is a very comprehensive tome dealing with Irish archaeology, heritage, history, and, as I say, conservation, preservation, promotion, etc., etc. It is fabulous. And they got, this was published in the year 2000 or 2001, I think. Yeah, 2000. So it's 22 years old now. Yeah, I had never seen it before last year, I'm ashamed to say. But they got experts in to write each chapter. And the chapter we're going to be reading from is called Place Names. And it was edited or composed by Diarmuid Ó Morchada, that's Dermot Murphy to you and I, and Kevin Murray. So that's what we're going to be doing tonight. I know that we have done episodes about place names. We did 3 episodes about the Dindshenchas and place names. We also did at least 1 episode about Onomasticon Gaelicum, which has a lot of place names in it. Daisy, oh, what a gorgeous calendar. Yes, indeed. Thank you very much, you know, and hopefully they'll be adorning the walls of all our followers over the next while. Anne Scott Doherty says, I'm very late. My neighbour needed some help. That's perfectly okay. And in fact, you're just in time for starting the episode proper. We're barely starting, you know. Just getting rolling, says Michelle. And Rowan says, we're barely starting. Yes, indeed. I just followed your Instagram. Thanks for mentioning you have one. Thank you, Ali, for the extra follow. Much obliged. My son sent me a bottle of Redbreast from New York, but I told him I would not open the bottle until he comes home for Christmas. If anything tests a father-son relationship, this is it. Yes, or tests one's willingness not to, or one's fortitude, shall we say, in not opening a bottle of Redbreast. Michelle Woodburn says, late. Nobody's late in this. In this, you see, the wonderful thing about the online universe is that unless you actually have to participate, you're not late, because even those who are watching this back afterwards, and hello to you all if you're watching this after it's been live, after the fact, you're still very welcome. And please do feel free to comment on YouTube or on Facebook, and we'll do our best to reply to all your comments. Oh my goodness me, I have to lean back just to create space to get this book open. This is how big this is. Anyway, Superenter says, available on eBay. Just bought a copy for £4.35. I presume you're not talking about a bottle of Redbreast, and you are in fact talking about the heritage of Ireland. This is fabulous. It's amazingly comprehensive. It's a really, really wonderful piece of work. So, for instance, if we look under the archaeological landscape, we see immediately some familiar names. Gabriel Cooney, Professor Gabriel Cooney, very well known in archaeological circles. I always say archaeological circles. Are they ring forts or henges? Never mind. Tom Condit, who many of you will know was, I don't know his current status, but certainly was for years with National Monument Service, and he co-edited the National Monument Service publication on the 2018 drought finds, including Dronehenge, and Emmett Burns. And so when we go to For instance, Irish storytelling, we see that it was composed by Gearóid Ó Crúlach, and if you know that name, you'll know that he was the composer or the author of that wonderful, wonderful book called The Book of the Cailleach. So, yeah, experts in all their fields called in to contribute their various sections or chapters. Derek Hollingsworth says, "Hi, Akara from Onger in Dublin 15. Keep up the good work." Thank you very much, Derek, and good evening to you. You're very, very welcome. I just had a thought that if my surname was Early, I would never have to sneak in. Because you could just say I'm early, and you wouldn't be telling a lie. But you would also be late. But a wizard is never early, is never late, Frodo Baggins, nor is he early. He arrives precisely when he means to. Donna Furrer thinks that she has slipped in unnoticed. Down the front of the class, you, and there'll be a test afterwards. To which people say, is that going to be as difficult as the 200th anniversary celebration quiz, which a lot of people found very difficult because they hadn't been paying attention in class. I mean, sorry, because the questions were a little bit difficult, actually. Time is eternal, and so is the unconscious. Heritage of Ireland sounds a good academic work. Can't wait to hear about the chapter. Mr. Early. Ha ha. Shh, says Brendan. Shush. Yes. And Michelle says, sorry, that's not the one I was supposed to show. Michelle says, I've just started reading the Book of the Cailleach. It is amazing. Rowan Grove wants to see the cover once more because she's fishing around for a copy. Take a screenshot. The Heritage of Ireland. Ah, yes. So here we go. The purpose of this chapter is to give a brief overview of Irish place name research, to examine part of the theoretical framework behind medieval and modern naming practices, and to attempt to put this work into its international perspective. Now, this will sound a little bit academic in places, but I assure you this is very enlightening stuff. It concentrates on place names derived from the Irish Gaelic language, which form the bulk of the country's toponymy. In other words, most of the Irish place names that you see are actually names that are based on antiquated Irish names. And a lot of them are anglicised. Place name examples are generally cited in the Irish language with their modern day equivalents following in brackets. And so we go to the first section, which is called the early medieval background. Whisht, says Michael Trott. Yes, indeed. Cunis na páistí. Quiet, children. The Irish place names created before the end of the Old Irish period, circa 900 AD, fall generally into two main categories. One relates to the population groups occupying specific areas on which they imposed their names. For example, the Carbery in Sligo and in Kildare. What's Carbery in County Kildare famous for, folks? This should have been a question in the quiz. In fact, it was kind of. Before I tell you, does anybody want to tell me what is the significance of Carbery, the village of Carbery in County Kildare, other than the fact that it's named after the people who are called the Carbery? The Bantry, which gives rise to Bantry in Wexford and Bantry in Cork, and the Luine, Luigne, Lune in Meath, Lune, and Laney in Sligo. So there you go. Some place names deriving from the tribes or the people who inhabited those areas. 3 of our provinces are named from large population groups. Connacht, Connachta in Irish, Ulster, Ullad, Ulaid, or as I used to say, Uli, but I was wrong all those years, and Leinster, Lion. Anya Ryan, well done, congratulations. Yes, indeed. And now I don't see your comment. I saw it just there a moment ago. Source of the Boyne. And now it's gone. What? I do not know what has happened. But here we Anya. And now Sue Prenter, Rise of the Boyne. Thank you, Sue. I saw Anya's comment first. Don't know what's happening. The Boyne rises there, says Joan. Yes, indeed. Several people getting the question right. No idea what's going on with the comments. I do apologize. The other category, probably older still, and the Leinster Lion. The other category, probably older still, relates to prominent natural features. many of which use lexical items based on parts of the body to describe them. For example, ceann, head, bale, mouth, mosh, buttock. Yeah, glitching YouTube apparently. Yeah, so comments are appearing and then disappearing. Desiree says, yeah, might be a good thing I missed the quiz. I think I talked too much in class. Yeah, you're minding the dogs. That's our, you're minding, yeah, you're minding the animals, you know. It's keeping you distracted. As in Ceann Muiche, Headborough in County Waterford, which I believe means the pig's head. Bale Áha Chumar, Ballycumber, County Offaly, and Moss Rower in County Kerry. Some mountain and river names may have been adapted from non-Gaelic speaking predecessors and are difficult to explain purely in terms of the Gaelic language. Even such a noted Irish name as Blarney may perhaps be traced back to pre-Gaelic times. The reference there is O'Rahilly 1964, which is T.F. O'Rahilly's Irish. What is it? What is it called? Irish mythology, Irish history and mythology. Yeah, you know the one. We've referenced it several times. But for certain of our earliest chroniclers, it soon became a labour of love to provide a meaningful exposition of many such celebrated place names throughout Ireland. I'm going to have to move the computer keyboard so that I can put the book on the desk because it's not comfortable. It's so bloody big, which is a good complaint, really. SPCM is in Mullinabrina, County Sligo. A very good evening to you and welcome. We're always very, very happy to see Sligonians, Sligo folk here. We definitely are. Fergal says, what about Ross Muck? On the pig's back, yes indeed. Or Tandragee. Tandragee. Does anyone know what Tandragee means? Tandragee is in the county of, is it Down or Armagh? I don't know. It's in one or the other. But anyway, anybody able to tell me what Tandragee means without Googling it? It's really funny. But as I say, but for certain of our earliest chroniclers, it soon became a labour of love to provide a meaningful exposition of many such celebrated place names throughout Ireland. Names of important sites were analysed into component parts around which elaborate legendary anecdotes were woven into what was called Dindshenchas, or place lore. However spurious the analysis may have been, the existence of an apposite story or poem often heightened both the significance of the site and that of the name itself. As Professor Pruntius McConnell remarks, there can be little doubt that the Irish landscape and the Dindshenchas, the history of places, which was its collective reflex in tribal myth and history, served together as an effective mnemonic index and treasury of a great part of native tradition. So there you go. In other words, it wasn't imported by the monks. Arse to the wind! Yes, indeed, Mandy. Tone regui. Tandragee. Tone, or is it tone legui or tone regui? It basically means backside to the wind. Arse into the wind. Because apparently wherever it's situated, it's on a hill and it's like a backside, you know, mooning to the wind, you know, telling the wind to feck off. You get this, you get the picture. Tandragee, really funny. Backside to the wind. So tan or tone being backside. If you've ever heard the Irish phrase "togue mahone," kiss my. Anyway, let's move swiftly on, shall we? This wide-ranging miscellany of toponymic lore was assembled and committed to writing in the 11th and 12th centuries. These collections of Dindshenchas are available in modern editions, which we have read from. Whitley Stokes in the case of the prose Dindshenchas in Revue Celtique, and Edward Gwynn in terms of the metrical Dindshenchas in 6 volumes. A series of 176 poems celebrating places as far apart as Carn y Nage, Mizenhead at the southwest extremity of County Cork, and Curra Vracoin, a whirlpool off the coast of County Antrim. That means the speckled cauldron, by the way. Curra Vracoin. Fascinating. As already intimated, the etymologies assigned to the various names need not be taken too seriously. Oswald Spengler asks if Greenwich Village, Dublin, has a different meaning from Greenwich Village of London or NYC. I have no idea, actually. Perhaps somebody on here has greater expertise in this matter than me. And very good evening to you, Oswald. You're very welcome. Someone is on great form, says Sue. Who? Point them out to me till I get them to stop their hilarity and pay attention to... Oh, you're talking about me. Sorry. As already intimated, the etymologies assigned to the various names need not be taken too seriously. Tandragee being a great example. For example, what we now call the Galtee Mountains were originally named Crota Cliach, the humps of the territory called Cliu, C-L-I-U, father. But in the relevant Dindshenchas poem, Cliach becomes a fairy harper, and Crota, which also means harp, mend crot. Remember that? We had that in at least one episode before. The place where he made his music. Killarney's principal lake, Loch Lane, as celebrated then as now, became the underwater forge of a smith called Lane, who each night would hurl his fiery anvil into the sky across Munster until it landed at Injoin na Naisha, the anvil of the Daisha, which is an actual location still recalled in the name of the townland of Mullinoney, which is Mullach na Niona near Clonmel, County Tipperary. Fascinating stuff. Tom King, what do you think of the idea of having an underwater forge? I don't think that's very practical, really, do you? Yes, indeed. Fascinating story all the same. The composer of the poem on Limnach, the estuary of the Shannon, which from where Limerick gets its name, had two explanations of the name. One of the connotations of Limnach is cloaked. So he made it the site of a battle between the men of Munster and Connacht, where, when the tide turned, the estuary was strewn with cloaks. Sounds a little bit like the Battle of Clontarf, doesn't it? Mythical Ireland might as well be a support group for those with attention deficit disorder. We are all very easily distracted, lol. I am the biggest culprit, Desiree, I can assure you. Barbara Murphy thinks that she's sneaking in late and had echo issues to make it worse. Barbara, you're very welcome. Please sit at the front of the class and pay full attention. There will be a test at the end. By which I mean sit down and have a great time. Kathy May Deo is in the house on her lunch to spend the hour with the two. I hope all are well. Cold and sunny here. Kathy May, all in good form by the sounds of it. You're very welcome to the stream. Tom King said, I have a sinking feeling it might not work in relation to the underwater forge. Yes. Yeah, well, your jokes are like mine. A bit of a damp squib. Anyway, but I won't rain on your parade. Stop it, Anthony. Keep going. Or, he suggests, it may derive from lumon, a spiky shield, large numbers of which were borne by the opposing forces. And this is what I'm saying about the duality or the alternative. What does he call it? What did he call it here? He did use a word back there. Where there's always two versions of where a place gets its name from. That is a thing in the Dindshenchas. In the case of the River Shannon itself, the poet first opted for Sinan, a golden-haired maiden of the mythological race known as the Tuatha De Danann, as eponym. But prior to supplying an alternative derivation, Riley remarked, "It is no better than the first version." Alexander says the forge would have to be very hot indeed, enough to flash boil the water like one of those deep sea volcanic vents. Yeah. I know the Scottish whirlpool called the Corrivracken signifies speckled seas or sometimes cauldron of the Plat. There are several of these Corrivrackens apparently. Fascinating stuff. Is Nora Gaffney O'Connor in the house? I did not. Oh, yeah, there you go. Is there a seat beside you? Move down a seat. Shh. You nearly got away with it, except for Tom King said, you know. Yes, indeed. You nearly got in without me noticing that you're late, and your name will be taken in the little book. Your name will be taken in the little, well, I was going to say black book, but it's not black, it's blue. That has no connotation, by the way. Nora Gaffney O'Connor, late by 39 minutes. Name taken. Both names for Dublin are noticed. Clea, ford of the hurdles, proved too obvious for etymological speculation. So the poet contented himself with a legendary four-headed monster with fourscore feet who was slain in the Boyne Valley and whose carcass, washed up in Dublin, provided the hurdles which gave the ford its name. Yeah, which is, we have said on many occasions that the Mata is what appears to be clearly a very early creation myth. Why do the scholars always insist that the bards and the scribes just made this stuff up? It's like when they were writing it down in the 11th and 12th centuries. What if this story was there for centuries or millennia? Why is that never considered? That's the one thing that annoys me about all of this stuff about mythology and Dindshenchas, etc. As you know, it is a bugbear. I have a bee in my bonnet about it. Speaking of which, a man walked into a pet shop and he said, "I have 12. Give me a dozen bees, please." And the pet shop owner counted out some bees, and he got to 12, and he put a 13th bee on the counter. And the man said, "That's 13 bees." I said, "I only wanted 12." He said, "Oh yeah, that one's a freebie." It's terrible. I laugh at my own jokes when no one else laughs at my jokes. I am my target audience, and I think I'm funny. That's all that matters, isn't it? Oh, God. Margaret Kiernan is saying hello from Mullingar. Hello, Margaret. Mad windy here. Chat in the chimney. Well, it appears to be on its way because somebody else down in the Midlands, was it Alan Hoskins, was telling us. Okay, a few people laughed. Kathy May Deo has admitted to laughing. Elaine Dent Lingenfelter has funny faces. Brendan Byrne says, "Oh no," which I think is probably most people's reaction. Michelle Woodburn, "Oh dear." You've been listening to Marty Whelan again, says Mandy McCurl. Yes, I've been known to steal a joke or two from Marty. I laugh at all your jokes, whether or not I'm in the chat or in the chat in spirit, says Oswald. You shouldn't encourage me. You really shouldn't. Aaron O'Leary laughed. I mean, hang on. Thanks, Nora. Death. It's like, yeah. When you told that joke, it was like, whoo, wind across a deserted plain with some tumbleweed. Anyway, that was the Mata. The other name, Dovlind, Black Pool, was linked to a man named Rodov, very black, whose daughter, a druid and poet, was slain there by a jealous rival. The magnetism of place lore was by no means confined to the official Dindshenchas, but pervaded almost all aspects of early Irish literature, as Professor Brian O'Keefe, among others, has shown. Referring to the epic saga of the Ulster cycle, Toynbee Cuilnge, O'Keefe drew attention to the section where the hero Cuchulainn on his first expedition was accompanied by his charioteer who, like his modern taxi driver counterpart, was familiar with the name and fame of each place through which they passed. When questioned by Cuchulainn, quote, he told him the name of every chief fort between Chower and Ciananas, which is Tara, and Kells in County Meath. He named, moreover, their meadowlands and their fords, their renowned places and their dwellings, their forts and their fortified heights, unquote. And when Queen Maeve's expedition set out from the Connacht headquarters at Crocha, modern-day Rathcrohan, County Roscommon, to capture the famed brown bull, it did not suffice for the storyteller to recount that they arrived some days later in Coilinga, now Cooley in County Louth, 20 miles north of me here. Instead, he introduced a litany of 65 names of places, all famous in their own right, through which the army passed on its march. Fascinating stuff. I should also say, I had a very interesting chat. You may have seen a picture, or some pictures I shared recently from the launch of the Stalin excavation report. And I had a great night in the pub with Matthew and Geraldine Stout. We had a long conversation, which was, as you can imagine, flowing and interesting and fascinating and all the rest. And Matt Stout pointed out that, and I don't want to put words in his mouth, and I'd love to get him on to talk about this, but he said that in the time, there are mentions, clear mentions, he says, of a type of archaeological monument called, or feature called, a Fulacht Fia, which is the cooking pit. And he says that almost without exception, Fulacht Fia date to the Bronze Age. Now, I'm not saying he was necessarily making that leap in saying, in other words, Toynbee Coilinga certainly has references to, Bronze Age communal sites or places of cooking or activity. But I think that's what he was getting at, and I'd love to maybe ask him that again on the record. Let me just quickly catch up on the comments. Michelle Terrell is in the house. Hello, Michelle. 1,000 pardons for being late. Don't worry. There's absolutely no problem with being late whatsoever. Michelle Terrell, late by 45 minutes. No problem at all. You're very welcome. I jest, of course. Sue Prenter is laughing at something. I have no idea. Tom King said he would cry. I presume that's any of Anthony's selection of jokes. Let me just check. I'd stay in front of that arse, says Patricia. Tone Regui. Sue Prenter says it's painful. Oh, yes, of course. Peter Woods is in the house. Anthony, do you think when you move on, you'll have that Highlander moment when you are and know everything? Will you have your typewriter? Probably. I brought the typewriter to Cork, right? And when the car broke down, we transferred it into the taxi and then into the hotel and the next day into the rental car. But I just forgot to pack the paper. The paper was in the boot of the van and I left it in the van. So we got to Cork with, among other accoutrements, a mechanical typewriter that I couldn't use because I didn't bring paper. I could have got some in the shop, but I just didn't bother at that stage, you know. A great night in the pub with a stout. Several stouts, more than two. The stouts of the archaeological kind and the stouts of the pint glass. But I don't drink stout. Joan says, Anthony, my granddad had two budgies, one called One, the other called Two. When I asked him why the names, he said because if one dies, he still had two left. I'll get me coat. I'm giving you a sympathy laugh there because I know what it's like to die in front of an audience, you know, just to tell a joke and just to have everybody go. Oh my, can't budge, laughing too hard, says Patricia. Well, that's certainly not laughing at my jokes, that's for sure. Now, where are we? Let's get on with it. Oh dear. Another example of this genre is to be found in the Finiacht cycle, the Finn cycle, in Akalo na Shonorach, the colloquy of the ancients. The storyteller ingeniously linked St. Patrick with aged survivors of an earlier epoch, Oisin and Coilche, who accompanied Patrick on a tour of famous sites, using each name as a key to unlock the wealth of lore attached to storied mountain cairn or ancient embattled fortress. In the course of their peregrinations, they arrived at what is now Ard Patrick in County Limerick. There's also an Ard Patrick in County Louth. There you go, the height of Patrick. Anyway, I interject. Ard Patrick in County Limerick, but was then known as Fionn Tullach or Tullach na Féine. Patrick's query as to the reason for this name gave Coillte the opportunity to describe an occasion when 3 battalions of the Fianna were preparing to march from there to fight the Battle of the big one, the big battle that the Fianna were involved with against the King of the World and the armies, in which they enlisted the help of the Tuatha Dé Danann to help them win. Oh, spoiler alert. The Battle of what? Give it to me in Irish or English. Lots of people commenting on being late. Well, if you'd just be on time, you wouldn't have to comment on being. I'm joking. You're always welcome, completely. And I've probably made too much of a joke of that. It's getting to the stage it's not funny anymore, this taking names thing. Insulted is me, says John. Yes, indeed. Battle of Castleknock? No. Much further down the country, Fergal. Oh, I'm disappointed. I'm gonna carry on for a moment, and I will come back to it. And the vista of serried rows of spear shafts bound with enchanted cinctures caused Fionn McCool to exclaim, "Is Fionn on Tulloch? Fair is the hill." Moitura? No, it's not Moitura. Moitura was Tuatha Dé Danann versus Fer Vullag and Tuatha Dé Danann versus Fomorians. We are talking about the big battle involving the Fianna. Margaret is also guessing Moitura. No, Moitura is Sligo. We're thinking down south, southwest, actually. The Dara Dun, the king of the world, came to battle the Fianna thinking he could take Ireland. God, had he got another thing coming. Many place names in Fíneacht lore, however, seem to exist only within the literature and the imagination, and as actual place names have lost or never had a locative function, a process that elsewhere has been referred to as de-onymization. Wow, they even have a phrase for it. Noel Taggart says, bedtime, Anthony. Okay, good luck now. Good night, everyone. I'm really, really disappointed that nobody has. I guess we all need to run faster to get to class, says Michelle. Yeah, we'll do fitness and learning about mythology in the one. We'll combine it. We'll call live Irish fitness. No, we'll call it Fit Irish Myths. There you go. Tuatha Dé Danann against the Fomorians was Moitura the rematch. Yes, indeed, the second battle of Moitura. Nobody guessing. These will all be Googling now. That's what's going to happen. All the Googlers now will put their answers in now. Oh, very disappointed. The influence of the Cambro-Normans. Nora says, woohoo, get my steps in. In your case, Nora, will you be swimming to Live Irish Myths? Everybody is Googling, says Kathy May. Yes, indeed. Yeah, but before anybody actually answers, because I'm really disappointed that nobody's answered it till now. I'm just terribly disappointed. Obviously, nobody was listening that day. Of course, I joke. We are talking about the Battle of Ventry, or Fintry, the Battle of the White Strand, Ventry in County Kerry, in which I think we did several episodes on that, in which the Fianna took on Dara Dun, the king of the world, and all of the various armies that were trying to come to land to take Ireland. And by God, it seems that invoking the Tuatha Dé Danann and involving them in the battle was a big turning point. But congratulations to our good Fianna and the Tuatha Dé for saving the day. Tuatha Dé, never mind. That would be one heck of a marathon from Colorado, says Desiree. Well, I mean, if you get a plane, you could run it up and down. You could run up and down. You could run up and down the aisle when it's in cruise. You know. I said that. My comment must have disappeared again, says Rania or Anya. We believe you. Apparently, Anya did have the answer and did type it, but I didn't see it. Awkward. Anya, congratulations for being the only person who knew it, apparently. This zest for onomastic lore suffered a major setback in two respects following the arrival of the Cambro-Normans in Ireland in the late 12th century. That's a funny one, isn't it? We're so used to calling them the Anglo-Normans, but in fact, yeah, they were Welsh more than English, weren't they? You know, the Earl of Pembroke, wasn't it? Anyway, fantastic stuff. Well done, Anya. Yes, indeed, says Nora. John McHugh says, sorry, myself and Mandy knew that answer, but we were too busy PMing each other. Hang on a second. Like, there are... One moment, please, while I do the calculations. There are 168 hours in the week, and you choose this hour in which to PM each other. Will you stop it and pay attention? No, I mean, have a great time. I'm sure you did know the answer. Anya admits to spoofing, or does she? I knew better than to guess, says Desiree. Does that count? This is a no-brown zone, Michael Pike is reminding us. Absolutely. Nobody has anything to apologize for, even me and my terrible jokes. You guys, Patricia says, passing notes to each other in class again. Yeah, if I was the mean old-fashioned teacher, I would say, Mandy McCurl, John McHugh, come up here and show me those notes. Read them out to the class. But then I might be embarrassed, because you could be saying something embarrassing about me. So there you go. Joan, you've blown our gaff. Firstly, the very fabric of romantic Gaelic-style names was rudely shattered in many areas where the landscape was transformed into clearly defined landholdings, most of whose names embodied the word baile, meaning town or homestead, with a personal name affixed. For example, Barrystown, Baile an Bharraigh, Barrystown, County Wexford; Launderstown, Baile an Londray, Ballylanders, County Limerick; and Simonstown, Ballyheamoin, Ballysimon, County Cork. Ancient Gaelic names were submerged in the flood of prosaic Bailche. Dún Crua became Ballycashlan an Roishti, Castletown Roach, County Cork, while Dún na Shade belonged to Baile an Chiavor, Baltimore, County Cork. What? Want to read again? He's very vocal tonight for some reason. And Baltimore, County Cork is the place where you get the ferry out to Sherkin and Cape Clear. Kilgovon yielded to Baile na Tona, Bottomstown, County Limerick. Speaking of Tandragee, backside to the wind. Reckon we will get detention after this, Mandy. No, you won't, Joan, because I know that you would just enjoy that. Whatever it is, it has to be punishment. I joke, of course. Kathy May is saying hello to Coda. Yes, he's very, very, very vocal tonight. Anthony, this lot confess too easily. If you ever need a solid alibi, I'm your man. Thank you, Brendan. Amadeus just got annoyed with all my giggling and went lay at the head of the bed, right as Coda was barking. Yeah, he needs you to kind of settle down so he can hear Coda. That's exactly it. Barbara is sad and sorry to come in late for ourselves. We don't want to miss a single joke. I mean, miss any knowledge you care to. Yes, or one or the other. Yeah, I believe you, by the way. That's very genuine. Where was I? Yes, Bottomstown, County Limerick. And Marganon became Ballynawn, Ballynawn, County Mayo. The Norman mode of land division, including the use of the word Baile, became widespread in an Irish-speaking environment, as may be seen from a list of roach lands in County Cork in 1461, or from the descriptions of the lands of Ivaine and Ifeachrach in Connacht. And the sources here are all given in brackets. O'Donovan in this case, which is obviously John O'Donovan, Ordnance Survey or something, 1843. Yet most of the old names were retained, albeit in a new mode of spelling. The Normans and their Anglo-Irish successors adapted Gaelic names within the sound systems of their own languages. In the early 13th century, Song of Dermot and the Earl, written in Norman French, Clea became Heathcliff. Glendalough became Glendalath, and Burva became La Barrow, the River Barrow. From then on, quote unquote, anglicized forms became the norm for official purposes. Tara, Chower; Armagh, Ardwacha; Tipperary, Turbridaren, and so on. In some instances, through folk etymology, This resulted in such peculiar forms as Tom Regan, or Tom, is it Tom Regan? Tom, I don't know, because I've never heard of it in County Cavan. From the Irish Tom Drecum, Scary Hill in County Antrim. From the Irish Scarf Coil. Scarf. What's Scarf? I know Coil is a hazelwood. Scarf. Scorbh. My pupils, I hope, will know. Where is Caitlin Moon when you need her? And the other Irish, brilliant Irish scholars whose names I can't immediately remember. And Vinegar Hill in County Wexford. Cnoch Feo Magyar. Feo Magyar. Gcaor. Wow. Intruder probably just came in the yard telling someone Anthony's jokes, and Coda ran away to hide from them. Or he just slept through them, which is probably the right thing to do. And Noel is saying Tornanstown, Ballyhornan, County Down. Thank you for that example. A second inauspicious factor was the cessation of creative onomastics. While Dindshenchas continued to be copied by scribes, nothing new was added to the corpus. Because of the emphasis on land acquisition due to an increasing population, place names now acquired an even more territorial dimension, linking to septs and subsepts their ancestral lands and delimiting their boundaries. Fascinating stuff. They suggested that stuff was added to the Dindshenchas when it was first written down, and I would certainly argue that, although I'm not a scholar. There are some tribal-oriented poems which reflect the Gaelic reaction to the takeover of large tracts of territory by lords of Norman descent. The best-known examples, the topographical poems of Sean Moore o Dovaghan and Giolla na Naomh o Huirín, though compiled in the late 14th century, totally ignore the territorial changes wrought by the Norman incursions. A later production, Angus O'Dowley's Tribes of Ireland, lampooned indiscriminately lords both of Gaelic and Norman descent countrywide. Regional ownership tracts provide even more fruitful place name sources, in particular those for Coyle and Corca in County Cork, Evine, or is that Evine is High Manny, isn't it? In County Galway, Ifeachrach in County Sligo, the Maguires of Fermanagh, the O'Reillys of County Cavan. And the O'Reillys of County Cavan, full stop. Then there is a 16th century poem which, rather than dealing with land ownership, portrays the cattle raiding exploits of Domacha o Cealacháin of Duhallow, County Cork. Fascinating stuff. That the composer of this remarkable poem relished the resonance of Munster place names is obvious from the fact that in the course of 420 lines, he managed to name over 200 different places. Fascinating stuff indeed. The beginnings of modern place name scholarship in Ireland. In the 17th century, the first stirrings of a renewed scholarly interest in toponymy became evident in the work of the Irish Franciscans at Louvain. Father John Colgan wrote to many quarters in Ireland requesting lists of names of ecclesiastical sites for use in his great work on Irish saints. He also hoped to publish an Irish ecclesiastical onomasticon, but mainly due to the failure of people in Ireland to reply to his inquiries, we would question what they were doing, that they were too busy to reply. He never succeeded in this enterprise. I'm just saying. Drunk as a monk. How dare I even suffer the thought? Perish the thought. Ecclesiastical scribes drunk? I doubt it. And anyway, they wouldn't be drinking whiskey, they'd be drinking mead, apparently. The conflicts of the mid and late 1600s inhibited further scholarship to a large extent until the Pax Britannica of the following century allowed a resumption. By then, it was no longer native scholars who rose to prominence in the study of ancient Irish culture, but rather Anglo-Irish ones whose knowledge of the Irish language was meagre and whose etymological efforts were often misleading. people such as Mervyn Archdall, antiquary and rector of Slane, County Meath, author of Monasticon Hibernicum, presumably that means something like the Monasteries of Ireland. Edward Ledwich, Victor of Ahabow, County Laois, author of Antiquities of Ireland, and General Charles Valancy, who we have mentioned plenty of times, author of the 6-volume Collectanea de Rebus Hibernicus, 1770 to 1804. Fascinating stuff. Yes, indeed, it is. We mentioned it earlier on, Redbreast 12. Well, a 15 is better, and if you can get a 21, you'll pay a lot of money for it. I think it's something like 500 or 600 euros for a bottle. Yes, indeed. It was not until the establishment of the Ordnance Survey in Ireland in 1824, and in particular the appointment of Thomas Larcom as administrator 4 years later, that the study of Irish place names was placed on a proper footing. Larcom's interest in the history and human ecology of the areas surveyed led to the assembling of invaluable data for most of the northern counties. Give me 1 second here. I'm just going to have a look at how much is left to read. Oh, okay. I think we can make this a 2-episode series. He then appointed it. If I'd only read the damn thing instead of trying to crack jokes and giving out about people being late, we'd be there already. He then appointed a team of scholars, including Eugene O'Curry, James Clarence Mangan, Patrick O'Keefe, Thomas O'Connor, and in particular, our good friend John O'Donovan, to decide upon the original Irish form of each name, so that a standard anglicised form could be provided for the Ordnance Survey maps. Barbara wants to know what book I'm reading from, and I will show it, as I did at the beginning when you weren't here because you were late. No, that's gone too far, Anthony. Stop joking, or people will start leaving. It's called The Heritage of Ireland, Natural, Man-Made and Cultural Heritage, Conservation and Interpretation, Business and Administration, edited by Neil Buttimer, Colin Rinn and Helen Gearan. Fabulous piece of work, very comprehensive, 700 hefty pages. The pity is that the original Gaelic spelling was not retained, as it was in the case of many similar names in Scotland. In the course of frequent and arduous journeys to the 4 quarters of pre-famine Ireland between 1834 and 1841, O'Donovan and the others amassed a prodigious quantity of topographical information, and not just in regard to townland names. Oh, wow. I like the sound of that, Desiree. I'm Bagsy being the first taster. Brilliant. The Ordnance Survey letters, name books, and memoranda preserve copious details of named features on the landscape, such as hills, hollows, rivulets, and so forth, along with meticulous recording of any ancient remains visible. In 1841, the work of the topographical team was terminated, sadly, before County Cork was visited, and O'Donovan's employment was reduced. Not so his workload, however. Already subsequent to the founding of the Irish Archaeological Society in 1841, he had edited for publication a series of important Irish historical and topographical works. His pioneering insight into these sources proved indispensable in his topographical work at the Ordnance Survey, and conversely, his familiarity with townland and parish names acquired there often helped to locate ancient sites referred to in manuscript sources. He continued until his untimely death to edit further significant works, his crowning achievement being the publication by Hodges, Smith and Company, Dublin, of what is generally known as the Annals of the Four Masters, a manuscript collection of annals from the earliest times to 1616, compiled by a 17th century quartet of friars. In this formidable undertaking, he had the assistance of Eugene O'Curry and George Petrie, but O'Donovan was the scholar whose annotations provided for each name in turn a comprehensive body of topographical information. Topographical evidence is the word, actually. Most of his identifications were extremely accurate, and even to the present day, the Annals of the Four Masters remain a treasure trove for researchers. There you go. And I think that is where we're going to be stopping for the evening, to be continued next week in part 2. Fascinating stuff. And every time I do, as I say, every time I host a live stream, I learn something, and we're not going anywhere yet. I'm going to hang around for a bit of chat, a bit of banter, read some of the comments. Name of the thistle, not rose. No finger licking. Who am I missing? Joan is certainly having a nice evening, while her hubby gets soaked in Tasmania. The poor guy cycling around Tasmania. Sounds awful. He brought the Irish weather with him, obviously. Thank you. Is it Moira Movies? Claire means berry. And I wonder, is that a different form of care, as in CAE, or Angus's lover? Wasn't her name supposed to mean berry as well? Is that probably the same variant spelling of the same word, as we often find the words are spelled differently? I'm just checking that I haven't missed any comments, and apparently I haven't. Don't forget that we did several episodes on the annals, which I'm just looking for here. Don't know why I'm taking my glasses off, but I need them for the old reading and the old screen, one moment, please. Oh, YouTube keeps changing. It's like, how do I find something in my own channel? That should have popped up, shouldn't it? Videos. How do I actually search my own channel? There used to be search at the top, and then a separate search. Okay. Well, trust me. So there you go. We have done several episodes. We did episodes about the annals. We certainly covered the annals of the Four Masters. We may have done something on the annals of Ulster, and maybe the annals of Chernock, or Inishfallen, or some of those. Can't immediately find it. Trust me, it's there. If you go to the Mythical Ireland YouTube channel, Live Irish Myths and Storytelling, and it's going to just start playing that playlist now from episode 1. Oh, wow. All the way back. Let me see if I can quickly find it. Place name myths. We have episodes 33, 34, and 35. If you're looking for previous, especially any of the people who joined recently or who haven't, been on the live streams for a while, or for those, especially the newcomers, and just looking for the ones about the annals. Laura Gowalla was 81 and 82. Yes, Introduction to the Annals, episode 96. Annals of the Four Masters, episode 97. Annals of Ulster, episode 99. So the late 90s are the episodes that you're looking for if you want to read more about our annals. But there you go. I'm not seeing any new comments. Have we? The last comment was 906 from Mandy McCurl. Is that right? Is there a problem? Have we stopped? There's another me. I didn't even want that to come up, but it insisted on coming up. Let me just check this. Live. Okay, there's loads of comments now. There must have been something there. Tons and tons of comments. Did we have a breakdown there, did we? Tons, literally. There was no comments for ages. Now there's a ton. Anyway, I do apologize. I think you're not getting the feed. Well, was I still live? That's the main thing. That's okay. Thanks, Mandy. And Honestly, I'm just enjoying the jabber, says Alexander. Well, there you go. That's why people come. I'll join you the next time I come to Denver. Kathy May is going back to work after her lunch. Kathy May, thank you for joining us. Have a great week. And we'll see you hopefully next Monday, if not for maybe one of our impromptu live streams in between. Yes, it was Anthony's fault with his red breast. There he goes. I think I need a nightcap. Just saying. Have you checked out Moncon's new book? I have only started. Yes, indeed. And I am lucky to have a signed copy, actually. Listen to the Land Speak. I do intend to get Moncon on either on the show or recorded on camera talking about that. So watch out for that. I'm not sure when that's going to be, but sooner rather than later, hopefully. Pardon me. Nope, not right. We're still messaging, says Desiree. Yeah, so obviously you could still see me, but I couldn't see any of the feed. I don't know what happened there. Lots of people commenting on the whiskey, which I haven't touched tonight yet. Yet being the operative word there, the important word. Thank you, Anne McCallum. Enjoyed that episode. Mighty crack. Well, sure, that's us. We Irish, or us Irish, are renowned for it, Glad I got on, says Sheila. Thank you for joining us, Sheila. It's very nice to see you here. Good fun tonight, says Tom King. A Tua in good fettle indeed. Thank you, Anthony, and friends of the Tua. Have a lovely week. Stay safe out there. And yourself. And I hope that flame is burning brightly, as I imagine it is. Brightly and warmly. Horrid weather in Limerick, says Cy B. Apparently it's on its way. It's not horrid here yet, but lots of people down the country commenting on it, so it's obviously coming this way. Thanks for making my day, says Elaine Dentlingenfelter. Which joke was it in particular that you laughed at? He says, I didn't laugh at any of your jokes. I just thought the rest of it was good. Call the whiskey global matchmaker. Thank you, Amanda Morgan. Have you checked out John Creven's? Is it John Creedon? I actually have it. I got a lovely gift of it from Josie Weatherford at the Mythical Ireland public tour at Douth. Yep. And I'll probably try to get John on as well if he would be so kind. Tons and tons and that's a beautiful. They're both beautiful books. They're beautifully produced, lovely hardcover books, and lovely book wove. That creamy, non-coated paper. Very, very beautiful books. Highly recommended for Christmas presents, folks. An Irish Folklore Treasury by John Creedon, who has been in the past a guest on Live Irish Myths in conversation, although it was recorded, it wasn't live. And Moncon, also a guest on Live Irish Myths in conversation. His new book called Listen to the Land Speak. Great Christmas presents, along with the 2023 Mythical Ireland calendar, which I have to mention once more. And remember, if you're buying a calendar or anything else on the website, see the ticker down below. Use that code, MI10K Insta, which is 10,000, a celebration of 10,000 followers. I'll put them up when I'm finished. 10,000 followers on Instagram. Yesterday, we passed the 10,000 mark. Thank you for all. Anyone want to set a date before the snow gets serious, says Joe. Yeah. Lexi Erickson is in the house. Caught you just as I got out of class, so we'll catch you on the replay. Semester is ending soon, so I'll be able to get on a regular time hugs. Brilliant stuff, Lexi. Thanks for saying hello and for joining us. We had a good bit of fun tonight. We were a little bit giddy. I was, especially, in fairness, and it was great fun, I think. Nora has her calendar, and it's fab. Brilliant stuff, Nora. Thank you very much. Don't forget also, if you want to support Mythical Ireland, do think about becoming a patron. And if you sign up, you can support Mythical Ireland for as little as $1 a month. Or if you want regular updates and stuff that other people aren't seeing, I would recommend at least the Stone Age level, but the Bronze Age level is really the place to start. So, for instance, at the moment, our film featuring Michael Slavin is available to Bronze Age patrons and above. Anthony, I haven't received my third prize calendar yet. Just saying, says John. Not good enough. I will have a stern word with my staff. So if you see me talking to myself, you know I'm having a staff meeting. I'll get that sorted for you, John. No problem. And Michael Trott, indeed, is watching from New Zealand, where hopefully the sun is rising, and it's spring, early summer there now, is it? Michael, I hope the weather is really nice down there, because it isn't that nice here really at the moment. But anyway. And Caroline says her calendar arrived safely in Florida. Brilliant stuff. Delighted to hear that, Caroline. And yeah, I know it's a bit early this year. Actually, this is the 14th of November. I only received the 2022 calendar from the printer this day last year. So this year's is a few weeks ahead of schedule, but that's a good thing, I think. Anyway, everybody is going to be imbibing the redbreast later, I think. And if you haven't got some, definitely. I know this is like product advertising. I just want to make it clear. I am not on commission from any whiskey company to promote their products. I just happen to like a sup or two, you know. 1 dram actually is usually all I take, because my whiskey, for me, whiskey is for sipping. It's not for knocking back. It's definitely a sipping drink. It's like wine, except for it's better than wine. Staff meeting. Alexander thinks that's funny. Yes, the gals are a hoot, aren't they? There's a whole sort of separate chat going on there all evening, and sure, look, you wouldn't look. These are women that cut the legs from under you 10 feet without breaking a sweat, as Michael Quirk would say. Anyway, folks, I hope you have a great evening, afternoon, morning, wherever you are in the world. Thanks for joining us. I've had a really nice time. And we'll talk to you very soon. Don't forget, if you're watching on YouTube and you're thinking about Facebook, we are on Facebook, the Mythical Ireland page, the Mythical Ireland community, and the Mythical Ireland Creatives, which is more for the creative people to share their work. If you're on Facebook, don't forget to come over and subscribe to the YouTube channel. And all of you, don't forget to go to Instagram and give the Mythical Ireland page a like. Yes, you will see a lot of the same stuff on Instagram as you will see on Facebook. I can't say the same for YouTube, in fairness. So all that it remains for me to say is Ichawa, Kolosov, Slán go Fóill, and the usual outro, which is Tóg go Bugge. And if you don't know what that means take it easy. I'm very glad to have had your company this evening. It's been my great pleasure. We'll see you all again very soon.